What? Oh boy. Oh boy. Okay.
You are Locked On Spartans, your daily podcast on the Michigan State Spartans, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
Spartan friends, Spartan family, Locked On Spartans listeners. Hey, this episode is brought to you by FanDuel Sportsbook, official sportsbook of Locked On. Make every moment more. Right now, new customers can bet $5 and get $200 in bonus bets guaranteed. Visit FanDuel.com/LockedOn today to get started. I got nothing to say, but we're going to do a whole show, and we're going to just try to work our way through it together as one big happy Spartan family. Thank you so much for tuning into Locked On Spartans tonight. If you're driving home from the game, or if you're already home from the game because this thing was over with about 12 minutes left to go in the second quarter, regardless, thanks a lot for watching Locked On Spartans. I'm your host, Matt Sheehan. You ever want to reach out? LockedOnSpartans@gmail.com. Comment below if you're watching on YouTube or at Sheehan_sports on Twitter. 41-7 against Washington, and more importantly, 51 days until basketball season. I'll say that one more time. 51 long days until basketball season, because if it's going to be anything close to this, we're in for a long one the rest of the fall. Now, look, let's not get it twisted. I'm going to be very transparent with everyone here. I think I made this very clear in the build-up here whenever we did talk about the game last week. I didn't expect to see Michigan State win today. Absolutely not. Washington is a very good team. In my opinion, the best offense in the nation. They are fantastic at what they do. However, I did not expect this. Regardless of how awful the week was, regardless of how much of a circus the days leading up to kickoff were, nothing that happened last week should justify giving up 700 yards against Washington. Again, it was the Washington Huskies, a very good team. Not the Kansas City Chiefs, though. Nothing can justify the offense looking that bad. Nothing can justify the amount of brain-dead mistakes this team made yet again. Look, I get Mel Tucker's not on the sidelines, but we're going to get into it all later. I want to be a little bit positive here, and I know that sentence alone sounds Looney Tunes. I want to try to be a little positive here, okay? We like to do these post-game recaps, starting with the good things that happened. So let's just do that. Washington goes up 28-0. An effortless 28-0. A 28-0 that looks so easy. It looked like you and your grandmother could have done it just on your own. And I actually had a wave of calmness wash over me. And as deranged as it sounds, I said, you know what? It's fine. This means that we could just already start looking for the next thing, the next chapter. I've seen everything I've had to see with both coordinators. And I know this is it might be very unfair. This has been a crazy week, okay? Loss of focus. However, I thought you can count on the adults in the room to at least right the ship a little bit. Mel Tucker's gone. Just Mel Tucker. No one else. Not the offensive coordinator, not the defensive coordinator, not the special teams coach. They're all still there. You think they can get them through a full week of practice? And again, not to win the game. I thought this would be Washington all day. Not to the tune of 41-7 in a game that didn't even look that close. I thought that we could at least get something of organizational standards onto the field this weekend. Clearly not the case. We're going to get into both sides a little bit here, but I still want to focus on the positives. This is on a neon flashing sign saying that it is truly over. Any inkling of hope, whether it be naive hope, whether you thought, with a little boyish attitude, a little glimmer in your eye, thinking, hey, it's just Mel Tucker. He doesn't really do a lot on game days itself. Let's see what the coordinators have cooking. We did pretty good against Central, pretty good against Richmond. Let's see what we can get going here. It's insane between offense, defense, and special teams, who are all in a three-way race to compete for who could look the worst today, that you really couldn't figure out who it truly was. Now, with that said, we could just all move forward, okay? whoever the next head coach is, and it will not be Harlan Barnett. Okay, we could finally just put that to bed already. We could stop that joke. We can just realize that it's over. Now, unfortunately, there are 9 games left, and we will have to slog through the season. And no, I'm speaking for myself. I'm not going away. I'm going to watch every minute of every single game like the jackass I am. And hey, maybe you are too. If you're watching this post-game show after that game, odds are you are a diehard Michigan State fan, and you're not going to go anywhere either. But yes, it's all going to be over. Now, let's get – you know what? Hold on, sorry. No, we do have one more silver lining from this game, and this is something that maybe only 16 people saw on Peacock. And you know what? A silver lining before that silver lining. Thank the heavens this game was on Peacock. No one else in the nation is going to know this game happened. Only us State fans, the Huskies fans, and then maybe 3 confused people that were on Peacock by accident saw this game. So this was nice that this was not in front of a nationally televised audience and instead of some app that we're all going to delete from our phones here in a little bit, regardless. Anyway, other silver lining here. Katin Hauser looked fine, and I'm gonna pause myself here. I'm not that crazy. I'm not that ridiculous, contrary to popular belief, but Katin Hauser looks solid out there. Yes, it was against the Washington Twos, okay, the backups, but at least he got his shot. And it's interesting of what's going to happen. Is there a quarterback competition now? Is Noah Kim's job in danger? I don't think it is in danger right now. Now, in my opinion, should it be? I think so. We'll get more into his play in segments 2 or 3 coming up here. But I don't think the coaching staff sees it that way. There is a reason it took until the 4th quarter in this slaughter of a game to even get him out there or to even get him reps against Richmond or Central Michigan as late in the game as he got them. I think that shows you the distance between Hauser and Kim as far as the coaching staff thinks. However, what I do think this means for Katin Hauser getting in, nice rushing touchdown, had a nice deep ball, is that it at least brings up the conversation that, hey, there could be a quarterback competition, right? And that is just such a weird sentence to say, but I think that's it. Is that I think that Noah Kim will still be the starting quarterback against Maryland. I still think that he gets a half, maybe even 3/4 under his belt before the seat even gets a little warm. But at least it's like a conversation now, whereas after the first 2 games where Noah Kim is not just, having most of the snaps, but also playing pretty good, it's back in the talks here. Now, that is one thing that we were interested to see, is how would this all look against another Power 5 team? And no, not just Noah Kim, but also the offensive line, who has been leaving a lot to be desired here in the first few weeks. The secondary as well. We're going to get into all of it here, guys, in a hot second. But first, I just need to talk your ear off about Athletic Brewing Company, and this is going to be a hilarious ad read here, because now is time for your game changer of the week, brought to you by Athletic Brewing Company. That's right. Every single week, we got to nominate a game changer, and who on earth are we going to nominate after a 41-7 beatdown? The game changer of the week, brought to you by Athletic Brewing Company, is any fan that was there today. Raucous atmosphere in Spartan Stadium. You guys weathered the 45-minute beer lines. You guys weathered just a non-competitive game. So yes, the fans are the game changer of the week. Just like Athletic Brewing has completely changed the non-alcoholic beer game, Spartan fans have changed the game themselves. And Athletic Brewing Company, they make non-alcoholic beers that actually taste good. And yes, of course, it's right in front of me, but take it from me. I'm going off script here. We've had Athletic Brewery in our house for quite some time here. These are some of the most delicious beers you will have. Go ahead, knock a few back, and then wake up the next day with zero hangover. They are fit for all occasion. You're going to get the wonderful taste of all the beer and wake up feeling productive the next day. It is amazing. Add Athletic Brewing to your fall, especially for these next few weeks where you feel like you could use a few cold ones. Go ahead. Find Athletic Brewing Company's non-alcoholic brews at a store near you or buy online at athleticbrewing.com. First-time customers can use code LOCKEDON to get 15% off your first online order. Again, that's code LOCKEDON at checkout for 15% off at athleticbrewing.com. Near beer exclusions and conditions apply. It's Athletic Brewing Company, fit for all times. Okay, no more Mr. Nice Guy this segment. All right, we're going to say some really mean things about some student athletes that have been working very, very hard under very, very unfair circumstances. Again, I'm not going to pile on these kids, but we have to have an honest dialogue about what we saw. But before that, throwing barbs at these very hardworking college kids, we're going to have a dialogue about the adults in the room here. This might be a little overreactionary. A crazy week, an unprecedented week as far as Michigan State goes. Yes, there have been scandals, bad headlines, but never do they happen to the head coach, not even in the middle of a season, but like at the beginning of a season after you go 2-0. I get how bizarre the circumstances were. However, hey, adults in the room, where are you? You can't get this team to be more competitive against Washington, who is on the road against Boise State when they were at home, against their Tulsa game at home. Tulsa and Boise State in their road games against Washington gave the Huskies far more of a battle than the Michigan State Spartans did when they were at home. Okay, I'll say it again. It was just Mel Tucker fired. Jay Johnson's still there. Scotty Hazelton's still there. Ross Ells, who, what a day for him. It's almost as if he's trying to lose his job. They were there as well. Let's start with the offense. Washington, 3 secondary players missing. And again, we just said this in the first segment. This is something that we were going to be fascinated to see in this game is, hey, you looked okay against Central Michigan. Slow start, but you got the band together. You did really well in the second half. Richmond, okay, slow start. First 3 drives, not great. And then Noah Kim looks sensational going forward. What's it going to look like, though, against a Power 5 team? And not a juggernaut. This isn't the 85 Bears rolling up to town. This isn't the 2013 Michigan State defense rolling into town. This is a Washington team that's And Michigan State couldn't even look I'm starting to wonder about this offensive line. A little underwhelming against Central Michigan in the run game. A little underwhelming against Richmond in the run game. Now, the pass protection has been okay for the most part. Okay, Washington got 2 sacks today. I think the pass protection overall is fine. But man, can someone just give Nathan Carter a little bit of help? Why am I seeing guys that have been here for 3 or 4 years looking like the same player they were 3 or 4 years ago? We're supposed to be good in the trenches. This was a strength going into the season because we have returning experience, because we have solid foundation, solid depth as well, and the coaching staff is getting paid over $1 million for a positional coach, which is pretty unique in college football, to be looking like that. No bueno. That's not good. I'm not going to call the kids out by name either because, well, it's clearly a whole unit issue. And when it's that bad, I'm sorry to say, kind of ladders up to the top, doesn't it? So that has been incredibly disappointing. Now, let's just have a quick dialogue about Noah Kim. Fine player. By all accounts, a great kid. A really good role model to have in this program. Does everything the right way, yada, yada, yada. Was really interested to see how this would look against a Power 5 team. The 15 straight completions against Richmond, who knew they had a football team before this summer when you looked at the schedule. The 15 straight completions against Richmond, that was a hoot and a half. That was fun. This is where you show us how serious of a quarterback we can be moving forward. And no, I'm not going to throw him to the curb and say that he's trash and we should already put Caden Hauser in and that it's time for the next thing. But, oh boy, the throws when we're already down 14-0, or maybe it was 21-0, kind of irrelevant. The game was hanging on by a thread is the point. The throw up the middle, 25 yards, 30 yards to Christian Fitzpatrick, sailed it. All right, that was a big one to keep MSU in the game. Right after that, Jay Johnson, he actually did have a nice play call here. The nice little pass to Nathan Carter, knowing 8 yards around him and just sailing that throw as well. Against Power 5 teams, which, by the way, if you haven't looked at a schedule, that's all Michigan State has moving forward this year. Those are the throws you have to make to be a big-time quarterback. Again, weird week for Noah Kim too, okay? But I'm not sure if Mel Tucker's phone call was the reason that we're airmailing those passes, and let's be honest, it wasn't just Noah Kim today. He may be fine going forward. Will be a good battle against Maryland next weekend, a good Maryland team. Get used to saying that, by the way. Like, it's a good Maryland team coming into town next weekend with a solid defense in the secondary too as well. Going to be a big week for Noah Kim coming up next weekend, but that was little underwhelming there. But again, this falls more on the adults in the room than it does the kids. All right. Let's go to the defense. Let's go to the defense. Oh my God, I'm laughing to keep from crying right now. You got to be absolutely kidding me with this. I get it. Michael Penix is incredible. He will be drafted very high the first 2 rounds of this upcoming draft. He's got some receivers that will go in the first round as well. But whoa, boy. Before the second quarter is even over, 4 20-plus yard passing plays. All right, they go into the locker room with 375 passing yards. 375 passing yards, 375 passing yards. And also, this is my favorite stat from the first half to show you how much of a butt whooping this was. Washington only had 2 third downs. Not converted 2 third downs. No, they only had to run plays twice on third down. You have any idea how terrible of a game plan you have to only have 2 third downs in a single half? And it wasn't like, oh, they didn't have the ball that much. They scored 35 points. You guys saw the game. You guys know what happened. It was just absolutely embarrassing. But I've seen enough. You could think that, hey, maybe the defense is taking a turn, looked pretty good against Central, who has a quarterback that couldn't hit a barn if he was standing 5 feet away from it. And then Richmond, who had an offensive line that had 5 guys that looked like me on it. All right, the defense looks really good when you're playing against those teams. Man, again, Washington's an incredible team. 700 yards complete on the game, though. No team should be that good. So as a final ode to Mel Tucker and his brilliance in the secondary coaching, Coach Scotty Hazelton, look, it's over, I think. I mean, you have 9 games to change it, but whoa, boy, gee willikers, that was a tough one there. And by the way, Michael Penix, once again, kind of like he did last year, walking away from a game against Michigan State without even noticing what a single player on Michigan State's defensive line or linebacker even looks like, because no one got remotely close to him the entire time. It's an okay offensive line that Washington has, probably a beat above average here, but they were replacing some starters from last year. This is supposed to be a strength for Michigan State, the front 4, the front 7, and yes, Tumisei Adelaide, he was gone. Okay, I get they had some injuries, but not that many injuries where Michael Penix has 17 years every single time he drops back to throw the ball. All right, if the 4-man rushes aren't working, which is a little underwhelming because, again, this should be a good front. Mixing some blitzes. If they're not working, that was something else, is just the lack of pass rush that Michigan State had. And yes, some guys got put on shish kebab skewers again in the secondary. But it's the same story as it's been the last 2.5 years now at this point. Yeah, how much can you blame the cornerbacks if they're asked to cover NFL wide receivers for 12 seconds? No one could do it. You could put Sauce Gardner back there. He would still get lit up today just because he had no help from the front there. So it's just a great scheme that we got going on. And let's move on. I'm not gonna yell. My wife's trying to do bedtime with the kid upstairs. I'm not going to yell. Special teams. At this point, I'm starting to wonder if we're doing some point shaving over there at the Ross Ells family household. It is remarkable how in week 3, in your 4th year here, that you have your units less disciplined than the high school that I live a half mile from. Okay? Lamphere High School doesn't have too many men on the field penalties on a punt. They don't start the game with an illegal punt formation. All right, they don't have gunners nuking the punt returner on the other team after they give the clearest fair catch call that I have ever seen in my entire life. Tyrell Henry grabbing the ball at the 1-yard line for God knows whatever reason on the kickoff, and ended up not mattering. But still, whether it's coaching the discipline or just having your personnel correctly on the field, whether it be in the right formation or, the right amount of players on the field, which seems pretty easy, in my opinion. I'm just an idiot with a webcam and a microphone, but I don't know. I think that I'd make sure we have 11 guys on the field. It's week 3 in year number 4 for Ross Ells, and this is what we get served. And this isn't a one-off thing. We see BS like this every single week from special teams. ladders up to the top. All right? I don't know what you got to do to make sure this doesn't happen again, but it might be too late. This is a complete joke. All right? The fact that no one was let go in the offseason shows you everything. Mel Tucker left his fingerprints all over this thing. All right, he was on the sideline today. He was too busy taking calls back home. But we're going to get more into that here in a hot second and talk a little bit about Harlan Barnett. Poor guy, but we also got to have a dialogue about him as well. But first, need to talk your ear off about FanDuel Sportsbook. Snap into action this NFL season with FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. Hey, if you're like me and you like the Lions -5.5 because that's against all odds where our happiness has to come from now is Sundays in the NFL. No, I'm just kidding. Go green until I die. Go ahead and bet the Lions on FanDuel as well. Right now, new customers can get $200 in bonus bets guaranteed when you place a $5 bet. That's $200 in bonus bets, win or lose. If you've been thinking about joining FanDuel, there is no better time to get in on the action. They have great no-sweat first bets, promos daily. It is sensational doing my betting with FanDuel. The app is super easy to use. There's a wide range of betting options that include spreads, player props, over-unders, and more. So visit FanDuel.com/lockedon and kick off the NFL season. It's FanDuel, official partner of the NFL. And let's get back to the show here. He was not at Spartan Stadium, but let me tell you, whether it be spiritually or whatever word you want to use, Mel Tucker's aura was completely there at Spartan Stadium. And if you saw the little clip I put on Twitter, you already know where I'm going to go with this. But what was the knock? Well, okay. What was not the knock? What was a knock against Mel Tucker during his time here? Is that you never really saw an identity with Michigan State. You never really knew what you were going to get with the Spartans year in and year out, other than 2021, where the identity was, hey, we're going to hand the ball off to this future should-be Heisman candidate and should-be NFL Rookie of the Year. Beyond that, you didn't know what you got with Michigan State. The assignment's complete. He's coached his last game here at Michigan State, but this game is just another reiteration of what the identity of Michigan State under Mel Tucker truly was. And I'm just going to do the keep chopping during this, because the identity was clownery, being unprepared, being undisciplined, being unfocused. Once again, we just see a litany of mistakes, whether it's coaching personnel, too many men on the field, or whether it's just ridiculous penalties, execution errors. So Mel Tucker's fingerprints were all over this. If you think, by the way, that him being on the, there aren't a lot of people. I want to make this clear. This is a small minority, but a vocal minority. If there's anyone out there that thinks this game would have gone differently with Mel Tucker on the sideline, I'm not going to say. I'm not going to say have fun at your crack house tonight. That'd be a little too unfair to the crack house, actually. But yeah, no, this game would not have been any different under Mel Tucker. And do you know why I know that? Because today was just a rerun of everything that we've seen the last year in the 5-7 season. It's just like you put in the VCR recording of whatever happened in 2022, and you just saw it all happen all over again. So let's move on to the next head coach here. No, we're not going to talk about candidates, although Mike Elko's my top guy, but who cares about that right now? Let's talk about Harlan Barnett, because there were the whispers out there that, not whispers, there were shouts out there that when we're talking coaching candidates, hey, being unfair to Harlan Barnett. Guy's been here. He's a former player. He knows the program. He should get a fair shot. It is unfair that you are not even mentioning him, or that you are just dismissing Harlan Barnett being the head coach moving forward. And I know it is incredibly unfair circumstances, but life's unfair. Okay, well, what's the best way to interview for a job? Well, God, if we were just given the opportunity to have the job for a little stint here, kind of like Harlan Barnett has it for 10 games to prove himself moving forward. Now, I'm not going to judge him this one game. I'm not going to say it's over for Harlan Barnett. But if he wasn't behind the 8 ball enough, I'll tell you what, when the camera pans to him, when MSU's down 7-0 just like that, or 21-0 just like that, or up too many men on the field, or another crazy penalty over here, when the camera pans to him and he is looking as confused as a substitute teacher trying to teach calculus for the first time in his life, that's kind of why we're dismissing him being the head coach moving forward here. There's a reason he was kind of a position coach for this long. There's a reason it didn't work out at a bigger school like Florida State the 2 years he was down there. There's a reason that, no, he's not going to be the next head coach here, guys. Now, again, he's got 9 more games to figure this out. If he does the impossible and, let's say, bangs out 6 wins, 7 more wins here, then, yeah, sure, his name is back on the table. But, man, camera panning to the sideline and just deadpan Harlan, just looking at the scoreboard as if he's trying to do the helmet shuffle. That's not exuding a lot of confidence over here from yours truly. So, yeah, that's why there's a reason people are position coaches for a very long time. Okay? All right. I just want to make that very clear. He's a nice guy. The bang stick. It's all fun. Yeah, the whole Rose Bowl year. And you know what? Let's go ahead and just talk about that. We'll have plenty of time this week to complain up and down about what we just saw. And also realize, too, that this was a weird week. We actually have a real week against a comparable opponent coming up in Maryland, Michigan State. Despite everything, with the talent they have on the roster, with all the position coaches still there, the coordinator still there, they should beat Maryland. All right? That should be the expectation here at Michigan State. Now, before going on, the rest of the week are doing that. I just got one more thing to complain about because I'm on a roll. I'm in a mood. I feel like yelling about inane things, and this is ridiculous about what I'm going to complain about, but I got bad feelings going into this game, not just because of everything that happened this week or the fact that Washington is a pretty good team, not a 700 yards of offense on the road good team, but a good team. I had bad feelings on Thursday night when they dropped the jersey reveal, and it was the green pants, green jersey, white helmet. And no, I'm not clamoring for the black jerseys against Washington. You do not wear new jerseys against an opponent that you are going to get butchered by. Okay, I like saving the black jerseys for the Maryland game, which is what I assume they will do. Saturday was the 10-year anniversary celebration of the Rose Bowl. Famous game. One of the all-time games in Michigan State history, especially modern history. Okay? Very famously wore green pants, green jersey, green helmet. For the 10th year anniversary celebration, MSU couldn't even get that right. All right, and on social media, and I feel horrible, because I know someone in the social media department. I love him dearly. He's my guy. I don't know if he had anything to do with this, but I'm sure I'll get a very angry phone call from him after this. If he listens to this, God help me. Said, we're going to honor the legacy of the 2013 Rose Bowl team here with this jersey combination during their uniform reveal video. We're going to honor the legacy by wearing a uniform combination that quite literally did not exist when this team won the Rose Bowl. It was a layup to do green pants, green shirt, green helmet. D'Antonio's back on the sideline. It's fun. The whole team's... This is all... How do you even screw that up? So I had bad feelings going into this game when, like, even as something as simple as a jersey uniform combination was completely botched, because what is something that MSU can do right this week, man? So there you go. If you want to know how bad I'm spiraling right now, I'm complaining about a tweet I saw on Thursday about the uniform reveal. Just like, how hard is it? Just to wear the all green. That's the end of the show, guys. I can't believe how many people are watching live right now. Thank you, everyone. I haven't even checked the comments. Let me just click on that right now. Okay, you guys aren't being too mean to me. Thank you very much. I'll leave you on this, actually. One more thing that I commented on before this whole game. I'm watching College Game Day. Big new kickoff, switching between the two. And I like Deion Sanders. Hope the best for him. Would love if he came to East Lansing personally. I'm done with the whole Colorado thing, though. Like, there are 129 other teams in FBS. I would love if the national media talked about any of the other 129 teams. That would be great. But that's beside the point. And then I got to think about Colorado fans. And the funniest part, and it's not funny at all, but you can only laugh to keep from crying right now, is in hindsight, remember when Mel Tucker got here and all the Colorado fans were just complaining up and down? They were so salty, like, oh, Midnight Mel, he's a scumbag, snake oil salesman. Oh, you're going to learn sooner than later, Sparty. He's the worst. He sucks. You're going to learn. And then here we are after our 11-win season. We're thinking, these salty Buffaloes have no idea what they're talking about. It turns out they actually weren't even right enough about how this would all turn out for Mel Tucker and Michigan State. So, yeah, as they're celebrating with their new shiny coach, Deion Sanders, over there, I can't also help but to think that they're also on top because they nailed this whole Mel Tucker thing. All right, hey, it's all going to be over soon. Just 9 more games. We get to move on to the next regime. Let everyone go except Courtney Hawkins. Ephraim Reed can stay too, but yeah, my God, what a complete calamity here. I can't believe it, but we will be back every day this week because this is what we do on Locked On Spartans, your team in green and white 5 days a week. Yeah. Love you all. Go green. Jesus.